In our fast-paced digital age, where temptations lurk at every click, it's crucial to address a hidden danger that affects millions. How explicit material is destroying your brain and your faith. This isn't just a moral concern. It's a profound issue backed by science and spiritual wisdom. Today, we'll explore the neurological toll it takes, the spiritual erosion it causes, and the path to reclaiming your well-being. Let's dive in with an open heart and mind. First, let's examine the impact on the brain. Scientific research reveals that frequent exposure to adult content fundamentally alters our neural pathways. Studies show that it triggers an intense release of dopamine, the brain's reward chemical, creating a cycle of craving similar to substance addiction. Over time, this leads to desensitization, meaning you need more intense stimuli to achieve the same level of satisfaction. This isn't harmless entertainment. It's rewiring your brain. One key area affected is the prefrontal cortex, the region responsible for decision-making, impulse control, and long-term planning. Research indicates that heavy users experience a reduction in gray matter here, leading to poorer executive function. It's like weakening the brakes on a speeding car. You become more impulsive, less able to resist urges, and increasingly prone to risky behaviors. Functional connectivity in the brain also suffers. Connections between reward centers and areas governing motivation weaken, making everyday pleasures feel dull by comparison. Real-life relationships, hobbies, and achievements lose their appeal, fostering isolation and dissatisfaction. Such content usually depict relationships in an unnatural way, which can make one have unreal expectations about real relationships. This can cause your marriage to break apart. Moreover, emerging studies link prolonged exposure to cognitive affective distress, including heightened levels of stress, anxiety, and depression. The brain's response to natural stimuli diminishes, sometimes resulting in issues like erectile dysfunction or reduced arousal with real partners. For young people whose brains are still developing, the effects are even more alarming. Starting early can imprint juvenile patterns, stunting emotional maturity and healthy development. It's not an exaggeration to say that this habit hijacks your neural wiring, turning a powerful tool for growth, the human brain, into a battleground of compulsion. But the damage doesn't stop at the physical level. Let's turn to how explicit material undermines your faith, the very foundation of a meaningful life. In the teachings of our tradition, we are reminded to guard our gaze and protect our hearts from what corrupts them. Engaging with such content distances us from the Almighty, creating a veil between our souls and divine guidance. It fosters a sense of guilt and hypocrisy, where outward acts of worship feel hollow because the inner self is tainted by secret indulgences. Faith thrives on purity of intention and discipline. Yet, this material promotes instant gratification, eroding the patience and self-restraint that are essential for spiritual growth. We are encouraged to lower our gaze to preserve modesty and inner peace, but repeated exposure normalizes what should be avoided, leading to a gradual desensitization of the conscience. Over time, it can lead to other transgressions, as one weakness opens the door to more. The heart, meant to be a sanctuary for remembrance of the Almighty, becomes cluttered with distractions, making prayer and reflection feel distant and ineffective. Consider all the prophets, peace be upon them, who exemplified lives of steadfastness against worldly temptations. Their stories inspire us to strive for higher ideals, yet immersing in explicit content pulls us in the opposite direction, toward base desires that conflict with our purpose. It weakens our resolve to build strong families and communities, as it distorts views on relationships, objectifying others instead of honoring them as creations of the Almighty. Ultimately, it sows seeds of doubt, making us question our worthiness for mercy and forgiveness, even though the Almighty is ever compassionate and ready to welcome the repentant. The interplay between brain and faith is particularly devastating. Neurologically altered by addiction, your ability to focus during acts of worship diminishes. Distractions creep in, and spiritual highs feel unattainable. Faith requires mental clarity and emotional stability, both of which are compromised when the brain is flooded with artificial rewards. This creates a vicious cycle. The more you indulge, the further you drift from faith, and the emptier you feel, the more you seek escape in the very thing causing the void. But here's the good news: recovery is possible, and it's empowering. The brain has remarkable plasticity. With commitment, it can heal and rewire toward positive habits. Start by acknowledging the problem without self-judgment. Seek support from trusted friends or professionals who understand both the scientific and spiritual dimensions. Implement practical steps. Limit screen time, install filters, and replace idle moments with uplifting activities like reading inspiring texts or engaging in community service. From a faith perspective, turn sincerely to the Almighty for strength. Remember, the prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, taught that every soul stumbles, but the best are those who repent and persevere. Cultivate habits that nurture the soul. Regular prayer, fasting, and acts of charity. Surround yourself with positive influences, join study circles, or listen to reminders that reinforce moral values. Exercise and mindfulness practices can help regain control over impulses, bridging the gap between mind and spirit. As you progress, you'll notice changes. Sharper focus, deeper connections with loved ones, and a renewed sense of closeness to the Almighty. Relationships built on respect flourish, and your faith becomes a source of true joy rather than obligation. It's a journey, but one worth every effort, leading to a life of balance, purpose, and inner peace. Explicit material isn't just a fleeting distraction. It's a silent destroyer of both brain and faith. By understanding its harms, we empower ourselves to break free. Choose today to protect your mind and soul. The Almighty has equipped you with the tools for victory. Embrace them.